Hello, my name is Lav, and today I am a ghost because I will be reading your guys' scary stories. Woo! So let's just go ahead and get into it. This first submission is by a user called D. D writes, "For personal protection, I'll start by saying my name is D. In January of 2024, I went to jail for a 9-month sentence. It was hot and miserable and notoriously known for having bad internal politics in terms of gang violence and treatments of inmates by the guards. The half of the jail that I was in was set into a dorm-style pod, with 12 bunk beds on the top floor and bottom floor with 2 bathrooms as well as 4 showers and an open area with metal tables. The type of seats you would see at a food court. The reason why those details are important is because there was a large open space from the second story down to the concrete floor. Many suicides and attempted suicides occurred during my sentence. Many of them I only ever saw or heard the aftermath of. My first night that I got to the pod, my bunkmate told me that there was a knock at the windows every night around 2:13 a.m. Every night without fail. I knew he was probably just fucking with me, so I just laughed him off and ignored it. But his face remained completely stone solid, and he was serious. The rest of the day was normal and boring as jail is. As we could see the sun set through the frosted windows outside, the energy changed in the darkness. Our pod got quiet and tense. My entire body got cold, as if the heat had gone out. I went to my bunk and asked the person next to me why it got so cold suddenly. He told me it was because of the energies of those who had passed on in this jail. I considered it for a moment. I didn't see it out of the realm of possibilities, because I wasn't a complete skeptic, just very hard to convince. As the night went on, everybody got to their bunks earlier than what was allowed. We had to be in bed at 10, but everybody was in bunks by 8:30-ish. We all watched the TV mounted on the wall and relaxed the best we could until the lights went dark, except for one singular light in the corner of the room, and the TV was shut off at 11. I borrowed a book from my bunkie and read for a few hours until about 1:45 a.m. I finally laid my head down and faced the wall. A good 20 minutes passed until I'd heard a whisper down the line from me. I turned around, and I swear that I saw a tall figure, not opaque, not blurry, not a see-through apparition like most ghosts or spirits. It was a tall, black mass. A shadow, I can say confidently. It was around 7.5 to 8 foot tall. I just stopped and looked at it because I knew. I had the primal instinct, that fear you get when something that means you harm is staring at you. I was petrified. I just watched it intently for a good 10 minutes. I was sweating profusely, however I was freezing cold and shivering. The apparition only left when 2 guards entered for their rounds. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up staring at the ceiling, shivering under my thumb blanket, waiting for the night to pass. I had 2 more incidents while in this jail. Another night, towards the end of my sentence, I was awake, talking to a different bunkie, and we both saw the same thing. We heard a loud, gruff, growly breath. As we turned our heads, we saw a dark mass, the size of a large dog or coyote, slowly walk from the bathroom around the corner into the shower, and we never saw it leave in the hour that we were still awake. I never used that shower for the rest of my time there. Another time, towards the end of the spring, as it began to warm up, we were able to go to Small Yard more often because desert winters are so cold. The Small Yard was a 30 by 30 concrete room with 22-foot walls and a cage at the top. It wasn't much, but it was fresh air. Anyway, me and a few others went out there for evening yard as the sun was setting. We worked out, played basketball, and just found what joy we could find between the guards hounding us and inmates starting shit. As it got closer to time to go inside, a sliver of the sunset still in the sky, we heard a loud drumming sound that got more consistent and more robust. We heard small flutes join in too. Still confused to this day about what we heard. To finish this off, I want to say, I did research after my sentence on the jail, and apparently since it was built in the early 1900s, 237 inmates have committed suicide, 350% over the national average. I also discovered that the jail was built on a mass grave, an old Navajo burial ground from a war they had with a neighboring tribe. So, that's always nice to hear. To this day, I think and remember those times, and I can say with 100% certainty that there are things out there. There is another plane of existence that we don't fully grasp, but we still feel it in our depths, and it awes me and terrifies me at the same time. Thank you for taking the time to listen and read my stories. I've learned my lessons, and I'm a valuable member of society to the best of my abilities. Stay safe, everyone. We're all only here once, so live it up. One love, D. Thank you, D, for submitting your story to us for us to all read together. I can only imagine how scary that was. I feel like being in jail is probably scary enough, but then to be stuck in jail with some sort of scary apparitions going on, I would be terrified. I'd be absolutely terrified. For this next submission, the author did not specifically provide me with a name to use, so I'll be keeping it anonymous. The submission reads, "Before that trip, I never believed in monsters. Not really. Sure, I had heard tales, whispers shared around campfires or hidden in ancient forums, but they always seemed like mere tales. That perception shifted the night I camped in the northern woods. Everything began normally. My dad dropped me off with my friend Marcus at the trailhead, and we trekked to a secluded clearing far from the nearest road. No signal, no distractions, just trees and the wind. We pitched our tent, lit a fire, and joked about how eerie it would be if something were watching us. By midnight, the fire had dwindled. Marcus fell asleep almost immediately, but I couldn't. The forest felt off, too silent, no crickets, no rustling, like everything had chosen to just vanish. Then I heard it. A long, distant sound, almost like a scream but deeper. It reverberated through the trees, morphing into something unnatural. I sat up, heart racing, convincing myself it was merely an animal, but then it came again, closer this time. I shook Marcus awake. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. He nodded slowly, his eyes wide with fear. Something shifted beyond the trees. At first I thought it was just shadows, but then I saw it. Tall, impossibly thin. Its form distorted in a way I can't fully articulate. It didn't move like anything human. It stretched forward, as if its limbs were too long for its body, and then it emitted that sound again. We didn't hesitate. We grabbed nothing. Not our backpacks, not the food, just ran. Branches lashed at my face as we sprinted through the forest. The sound pursuing us, closer, louder. I didn't dare look back. I didn't want to know how near it was. Somehow, we reached the trailhead just as dawn began to break. The sound ceased the moment we hit the open road. We never shared the complete story with anyone who would believe us, but every night, when silence envelops everything, I hear it again. The same stretched, echoing roar. Not outside, not exactly, but not solely in my mind either, and sometimes I swear it sounds nearer. Thank you for submitting your story to us, Anon, for us to all read together. The "we didn't hesitate" part was really funny. I would have automatically disappeared. I love a good woods scary story, like a creature in the woods story, or getting lost in the woods story and scary stuff happens. They just scratch something in my brain. I love them. This next story is short but pretty unique. The author is Dork of Irrelevancy, and they write, "I'm not really sure if spooky dreams from one's childhood really count, but it's not something I've found an explanation for, and I find it unsettling. Not because it terrified me back then, but because it creeps me out now looking back on it. It was around 2010 when it happened. I was around 5. I dreamt I was in my basement playing a video game in the dark. Sonic CD was what I was playing, and I was on sound test screen. I entered the super secret code and saw the Fun is Infinite screen. It had the scary boss music from the US version of the game and everything. But this isn't what's scary to me. This scares me because I had the dream before I had even heard of the Sonic CD, before I had even heard of Sonic, before I had even heard the phrase Fun is Infinite. I had a dream about a secret in a game that I had no idea even existed. It still kind of freaks me out a bit thinking about it. Thank you, Dork of Irrelevancy, for your submission. That would freak me out too. I've had dreams before as a kid where I dreamed of something happening and then it would happen. I feel like I've heard a lot of people talk about that. It's really weird. This next submission came to us by somebody that goes by Andri, and Andri writes, "My name is Andri, I am 28 years old. I was born and raised in the far east of Russia, in the Republic of Sakha, Yakutia. My home is in the small village called Sasir, located in the Momsky district. It is an incredibly remote place with a population of about 800 people, where almost everyone is a distant relative. At the time of this story, I was 16. I was living with my aunt and uncle in a house on the very edge of the village. Just a 2-minute walk in the deep forest began. While the woods never intimidated me, the nights in the village always felt eerie. I am Evan, an indigenous person of the north. Our culture is deeply rooted in spirits. However, back then, having just returned from the city of Yakutsk, I was full of teenage defiance. I rejected authority and changed my ideological views like pairs of gloves. It was my friend's birthday. It was midwinter, and even in the morning the cold was brutal. I packed my computer, wrapped it in heavy warm clothes, put it on a sled, and walked to his house. We spent the day eating noodles, drinking soda, and hanging out. I hadn't planned on leaving, but late that night his father returned home drunk and kicked me out. My friend's mother handed me a flashlight, and I stepped out into the cold night. Our nights are long and lethal, with temperatures often dropping to -50 degrees Fahrenheit. I walked fast, fearing nothing but the neighbors' dogs. As I reached my gate, I saw someone rummaging near an old barrel. We usually keep ice for drinking water in barrels, but this one was cracked and discarded. At first I thought it was my uncle getting some ice. I asked in Yakut, "Who's there?" The figure stopped moving. In that moment I felt a wave of pure primal terror. I shone my light on the stranger and realized it was a literal shadow. It seemed to absorb the light from my flashlight. There was no face, no features, nothing that looked human except for the silhouette. I tried to speak, but only a faint whimper came out. I knew it was staring at me, even though it had no eyes. After a long, heavy silence, it suddenly bolted around the corner of the house. I stood, frozen, for about 30 seconds, trying to convince myself I was going crazy, or that it was just a thief. I slowly followed to the corners to see where they went, but behind the house, there was nothing but the impenetrable forest and fresh, undisturbed snow. There were no footprints but my own. I bolted inside, hid under my covers, and honestly, I started praying. When sleep finally came, I experienced sleep paralysis. I saw that uninvited guest standing in my doorway, just watching me lie there. Since that night, I have prayed every day, and it made me a believer. I saw this with my own eyes. Our lands are remote, and I cannot explain exactly what I witnessed. When I saw your video in shorts, I thought it might be a chance to tell this story to the world. Thank you for reading. Good luck with your future endeavors." Thank you for your submission, Andri or Andre. That one was really, really scary. You are very much braver than I, because I would not allow myself to be kicked out. I would be like, They'd have to like carry me out of the house before I walk home at night in the woods in a remote area like that. And you are also very brave for calling out to that thing. I would have turned tail immediately and ran back to my friend's house. This next submission is written by Cal, or they also go by Thwarted Halo on YouTube. Cal writes, "So about 10 years ago, I had just moved foster homes into my now adopted parents' house. See, I've always been very spiritually sensitive and have had numerous encounters, you could say, but up until this point, never one this visceral. Something to note about me is that because of my upbringing, I'm kinda paranoid. Because of this, I can't have any doors open when I'm going to bed. So I always double and triple check that all the doors in my room are closed and secured/locked. Well, one day, think pre-dawn, I was woken to an extremely sharp pain in my back. I'm a stomach sleeper. And I flipped around, and standing there in the middle of the room was a figure. The only things that I could make out were that it was abnormally tall, think 7 to 8 feet, and pure black, with the only defining features being these glowing red eyes. At this point, I did the only thing I knew to do and started praying. As I do this, I heard this terrifying, inhuman screech of pain, and I watched it jump onto the small window AC unit in my room before it phased through the window. Immediately following this, I collapsed on my bed and fell back asleep. I woke up a few hours later, thinking it was a nightmare, but then I looked and my door was open. The only way to open the door would have been to unlock it and open it. At first I didn't believe it, but then when I went to take a shower, I saw 4 distinct scratch marks down my back. To this day, I'm positive that was my first face-to-face encounter with a demon. Since then, I've had several more spiritual and demonic encounters, but those are stories for another time. Thank you so much for letting me tell this. Good luck on the video. Signed, Cal. Thank you so much for submitting your story to us, Cal. If I woke up from something like that and I looked in the mirror and I had scratch marks down my back, I would freak out. I don't think I would ever sleep again. I would be like Nightlight's #1 consumer. My whole house would just be filled with Nightlights 24/7. This next submission is from Grimly Reaper, who writes, about 13 years ago, while camping with my family in some mountainous woods, I had trouble sleeping. It was strange, as up until that point I never really struggled to sleep, but the day before I just could not sleep, and the same happened the night we would sleep on the camping trip. We had our tents set up already from the morning we got there, and everyone was going to sleep. I could hear every footstep as their shoes grind against the dirt until the footsteps stopped and everyone was getting ready for bed. But one sound caught my attention. I've lived in California, near some suburban areas. I know what a coyote sounds like and what a dog sounds like when they're being mauled, but this didn't sound like either. It sounded like something trying to scream like a person, like words of help, but not. I thought at first that the 2 days of being awake constantly had finally made me experience hallucinations, until my aunts and uncles started to wake up, and even my parents. My uncles and my dad set out to go investigate the noise. That would only pause as if to listen to see if anyone had gotten closer to it. As soon as they set out, I could hear it getting further and further away. I was horrified to think if I'd see my dad or my uncles again. The night became too overwhelming and I passed out before I could hear what they said from their investigation. But when I woke up, I felt myself go pale as I saw my uncles and dad sitting around the campfire with the same pale look on their face. They had told us that there was indeed a dog that had been mauled, but it wasn't left with any blood in it. They grew up hearing the folklore of the Mexican chupacabra, but I can't imagine from what I've heard about the beast sounding anything from what I heard that night. But that was it for the morning. After that, they went back to being the same careless people they usually are. We had fun doing sports and going on walks, and at about noon, we went to the office for the camping grounds to get some candy. Me, my siblings, and cousins looked around and overheard something. It was the rangers talking to one of the campers. To this day, I don't believe in supernatural nor superstition, but what I heard made me develop a fear that I never knew I could have, nor could get rid of from then on. They had mentioned not too long ago that a person had gone missing in the area, and they couldn't find a body, only clothes. Nothing but clothes, and they saw the person running around on all fours out in some wooded areas. And as the ranger spoke, his voice shook as if not saying something. He also said they saw them, and they hid and cried out, but they couldn't investigate because the area had been known to have bears nearby. He laughed nervously, and the camper assumed they were nervous about the bears. But I honestly think that what I heard that day was what the ranger saw, and we both knew it was a skinwalker. And what I dread the most from that day isn't what I heard or what my uncles and dad saw when they went to investigate, but what the pale ranger saw when he said he didn't investigate further because of the bears. Thank you for letting us read your submission, Grimly Reaper. Again, I really like scary woodsy stories or like accounts from like park rangers and stuff like that. I found those really interesting. So fun to read. Probably not fun to experience. I'm sorry that happened to you. Don't really hear a lot of like chupacabra stories nowadays anyway, which I know that wasn't fully like a chupacabra story, but you know what I mean? I feel like I don't hear those as much anymore. Anyway, all these are really good submissions. I really appreciate you guys for sending them in. I got way more than what I expected, to the point where I could not fit all of them in this video. So if you don't see your story in here, I'm really sorry. It's not because I didn't like your story or find it interesting. It's just because I had so many that I had to choose from, and I couldn't make the video very long. But I'm very interested in turning this into a series. I would like to continue continue to read your guys' spooky stories. So if you have a spooky story that you would like for me to possibly read in a video, you could send it to this email. And if I keep getting enough submissions, I could turn this into a spooky story series. I feel like that would be really fun. But if you made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I think this is the longest video that I will have posted, so I'm kind of nervous about it. But yes, thank you. If you did make it this far, yap to me about what your favorite story was in this video and why, because there are a couple that I really liked. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.